It's a story of a foreclosure, one of many on Hawaii Island, or it's a pivotal moment in the legal struggle of the occupied Hawaiian kingdom. In the least, it's a documentation of a Puna man's forced eviction from the place he's called home for more than a decade. At most, it's a glimpse of a hidden reality that clouds the title of every commercial and residential property in the state, and the linchpin to testing an international understanding of America's relationship to Hawaii.
Every state except Hawaii has a treaty.
It's a series in 5 parts by Big Island Video News entitled Defected, Testing Hawaiian Sovereignty. It may seem like legal retaliation taken to an extreme, complaints of war crimes made against judges and sheriff's officers. Recently, the accusations have been flying fast and furious. In our previous installment of this 5-part series, Kale Gumapak detailed his legal fight with Deutsche Bank in court. In February of 2012, Gumapak filed a motion to dismiss Deutsche Bank National Trust Company's eviction complaint in Hilo Circuit Court, providing evidence of the occupation of the Hawaiian Kingdom. The evidence was laid out by Dr. Keanu Sai in the second part of this series.
On August 12th at 12:01, Hawaii is occupied. The Hawaiian flag is lowered and the American flag is risen.
Judge Greg K. Nakamura denied the motion to dismiss without cause. In a media release issued by Laulima Title Search and Claims LLC, Gumapak alleged that Nakamura, Deutsche Bank National Trust Company, and their attorneys all committed a war crime by willfully depriving him of a fair and regular trial prescribed under Title 18, United States Code, Section 2441, which applies to foreign countries that the United States military is occupying. There would be more complaints of war crimes eventually, but first it might help to see what was happening at the international level at the same time. Sai has been testing the recognition of Hawaiian Kingdom sovereignty in international court for years. For example, he represented the kingdom in The Hague.
Well, from 1999 to 2001, I had the privilege of representing the Hawaiian Kingdom in arbitration proceedings in the Netherlands, in The Hague. That court was created in 1899. It's an independent court. Only countries can access that court. Only countries, not wannabe countries. Because if we're a wannabe country, that means you're still in a country and you're probably committing treason to try to break away. They don't get involved with those things. They can only take cases of existing countries. They couldn't believe Hawaii was a country, so they allowed the case to go in. And that's me over there with the beard trying to look distinguished, you know.
After that, he set his sights on the United Nations General Assembly.
The reason why I'm targeting the General Assembly to bring this information before them is because Hawaii in 1893 had 46 treaty partners, 46. That included a Universal Postal Union convention that we're part of. 46 countries have treaties with Hawaii. Some of these countries decolonized their territory, like France and Great Britain. New Zealand, Australia, Canada were actually part of the British Empire in 1893. So the Hawaiian-British Treaty also applied to these territories. So when a Hawaiian subject traveled to Australia, they were protected under that treaty. Under international law, see, this is what's good about being a political scientist. You learn these things. These countries that were decolonized, such as Australia, not decolonized, but achieved their independence, Australia and New Zealand, they are considered successor states of the predecessor, Great Britain. And as successors of Great Britain, they are also successors of Great Britain's treaties. The Hawaiian Kingdom now has treaty partners with just not 46, now 173. The United Nations is made up of 193 countries. We just hit the majority. So here, this little island, these islands in the middle of the Pacific, which seemed so insignificant, has now risen to its normal place as it was in the world community.
And on August 10th, 2012, Sai filed a protest and demand against the United States of America with the President of the UN General Assembly.
And I was able to file a protest against 173 countries, and it has to get through the President of the General Assembly, which was acknowledged by Dr. Hanafa Mazui from the President's chambers. Okay? I found out that Murad Amir contacted me and he said that you need to call me as soon as possible. So I did. He says he spoke to the person that received it because they're all in the UN. He says they accepted it. It was submitted to their legal department, and it met the procedure requirements under Article 35, subsection 2, and forwarded to the president. What he needed to do was he wanted to make an unofficial visit to Hawaii to actually see this. And his purpose was to see the impact of occupation on the population, as well as to visit the University of Hawaii to see how this information is being taught.
And Tsai says there is another international body getting involved.
Also, the International Criminal Court is involved because war crimes have been committed. One of the war crimes, which is a felony under the War Crimes Act, is an unfair trial dealing with courts. Yeah? Law enforcement, government agencies, they're committing war crimes. That was received by the representative of that court at the United Nations.
Back on the islands, Kale Gumapak was getting fired up as the international pressure mounted.
That's when they illegally took Hawaii. And from that point on, what happened was propaganda. And so now it's upon the United States to implement the laws of occupation. If you continue to do this, we will also start to charge you with war crimes.
Outside the Halekaulike courthouse on August 31, 2012, supporters of Hawaiian sovereignty gathered to hear the latest news from Gumapak and Dexter Kaiama, attorney for Elaine Kawasaki, after a proceeding before an eviction hearing before Judge Hara. Tsai's protest and demand was part of the evidence submitted by Kaiama. And in May of 2013, with a growing list of clients looking to Laulima Title and the Hawaiian Kingdom for help as they faced their own foreclosures, there was another round of war crime complaints. We sat down with Gumapak, Kaiama, and a number of their clients at Gumapak's home in Hawaiian Paradise Park.
I'm sitting here with my clients, and my clients have authorized me to speak on their behalf about matters dealing with the commission of war crimes and the commission of felonies by judges in the Third Circuit Court of the state of Hawaii. My clients have been deprived of a fair and regular trial, which is afforded to them under the Geneva Convention.
Kaiama was not representing Laulima Title, he said, nor their title defect argument. He was there to challenge the court's jurisdiction.
A little bit of background. In these cases, my clients were subject to foreclosure proceedings. And in the foreclosure proceedings, banks and their attorneys brought complaints to foreclose upon the homes of my clients. On behalf of my clients, I was retained at that time to dismiss the complaints that were filed because the courts lacked subject matter jurisdiction. In the proceedings, I filed motions on their behalf and provided the evidence to prove not only that the Kingdom of Hawaii continues to exist, but that there were also existing treaties between the Hawaiian Kingdom and the United States that the United States continued to be in violation of. Because of these existing treaties, and because of the fact that the United States has no treaty of annexations, I provided additional evidence to the courts that they could not retain jurisdiction over these matters, and that as a court they were unlawfully constituted, and their retention of jurisdiction would be in fact a violation of international law and the commission of felonies under U.S. law.
Kaiama also explained his legal recourse now that he has deemed the courts lack jurisdiction.
And on my client's behalf, I was authorized to file complaints with the international courts, as well as protests and demands with the United States Pacific Command, demanding that the U.S. Pacific Command investigate the commission of these felonies, and also asking the international courts, should the Pacific Command fail in their obligation to investigate and bring these claims to justice, that the International Criminal Court steps in.
Remember, such a recourse makes sense according to the executive agreement.
The military administers the laws of an occupied country. This document, called an assignment, authorizes the president, and upon his acceptance, to enforce the law of Hawaii through the military.
The judges really don't have any jurisdiction, and after accepting all this evidence, the judges say, oh, I still have jurisdiction, and providing an unfair trial and a miscarriage of justice to our clients. And so this is the dilemma that's taking place, not only to the client, but also myself as a victim.
Clients of Laulima Title placed all hope into Kaiama's legal strategy.
I went about this trying to save my home, and I came out of this with more knowledge than I expected. And I'm comfortable with the fact that I know my evidence is all in order. Texas does a good job in court, and it's amazing to see. It's amazing to see the judges, how they act in court, and what would be the term for that? You know, it's to see the injustices firsthand. It's pretty crazy, and I've had like several dealings in the court in the last few years, and it's the same. They just disregard the evidence, and they give the wins to the bank, and total disregard for our basic rights. And so I'm behind Dexter. I'm behind Laulimo Kale. I'm still in my house, and you know, it's a struggle. It's hard. It's emotional. It's an emotional roller coaster. But you know, because of my evidence, I'm more confident at night before I go to sleep, knowing that I'm right. You know, if they do come and knock on my doors and they want to do an illegal eviction, that's on them. You know, I got a lot of I've gotten over the whole being afraid of the government, so it's not a matter of being afraid anymore. It's a matter of knowing what's right, what's wrong, and teaching my kids. So, but I'm still in my house. Laulimo is constant contact with me, and I've developed a good relationship with Kale.
There was another important date on the international front.
In December of 2012, and I believe February of 2013, the acting government also lodged with the United Nations a letter of accession to the ICC, the International Criminal Court, as well as a letter of accession to the Geneva Convention. The significance of those letters of accession, one was that it was received again, acknowledging the independence of the Hawaiian Kingdom. And two, it was at that point that the International Criminal Court was able to assert jurisdiction over these criminal complaints that have been filed by my clients, as well as recognize that my clients, in fact, are protected people, citizens under the Geneva Convention.
But officials now in the state of Hawaii are very concerned. In fact, on March 4th, 2013, the date that the International Criminal Court would begin jurisdiction, I got a call from the State of Hawaii Attorney General's Office Investigation Division by a special agent.
We have been told that when that date came to pass, there were a lot of nervous employees in the state's judicial branch. Sources say some courts were ready to go on lockdown in anticipation of some sort of action by Hawaiian sovereignty groups. Ke'anu Sai tells an interesting story about that time.
So I went into the department, I spoke to them last Thursday, and this is what was told to me by the Deputy Chief of the Investigations Division, that the state of Hawaii went on alert on March 4th, 2013. They assigned special agents to protect the Attorney General, the governor, the judges from being arrested, from who they thought was a sovereignty group, to send them to the International Criminal Court. I said, well, now you know that wasn't the case, and I don't know what group you're talking about, but I laid out the information. Again, it's information, and it was a very good discussion. And I basically said what was really ironic was that the law enforcement officials you sent to protect these judges who were reported for war crimes and committed a felony, you were the ones supposed to have arrested them, because it's a federal statute, Title 18, felony. And they looked at me and went, whoa. I go, yeah. And then I said, because you didn't arrest them, you now become, and before I could finish the sentence, one of the special agents says, an accessory to a felony. I said, yes. So can you see how it's all connecting? And this is what's forcing people to see it in a very different light. And what they asked me was, Ke'anu, or they say, Dr. Sai, how do we transition? I'm glad I got your attention. Yeah? So stop committing war crimes. The war criminals are dead. Do not step into their shoes. We're all victims here. Let's fix it.
Next, our final segment in this 5-part series, a Hawaii County police officer gets in hot water for his role in a war crimes investigation.
It's the bank that breached the contract. And now it's the judges and the sheriffs that are breaking the law.
Hawaii, in 1893, was kidnapped, but it was treated like it was adopted. The problem is we can't find adoption papers.
And Judge Freitas agrees. he dismisses the foreclosure case.
Has been a violation of the Geneva Convention, the commission of war crimes, and the commission of felonies by judges in the Third Circuit Court of the state of Hawaii.
It was totally unexpected, and they showed up at 7:10 in the morning. They came with
Task force.
fugitive task force.